you have built a conglomerate. You've built a superb brand,
Yes.
and you've done it, both of you. Um, how did you start? I think that is a question that everybody would want to know, because looking at you, a lot of women may feel that, okay, you're coming from a place of privilege, therefore there was money to start a brand on, and so it was easy. But was it?
So actually, that's a bit of a misconception. We've given so many interviews and we've told people what our start of our journey was, and we've always thought that that start of our journey would help other people to understand that actually
Yeah.
you didn't need money and you didn't need an education, which unfortunately I don't want to promote as that. But in all honesty, when you're in a creative field, you really don't need a master's or a PhD or
Right.
Sana and I both are not very highly educated. I've only done my A levels. I did 1 year at NCA.
Right.
Sana did a year of college and she came back. And the actual Sana Safina's house of fashion actually started from sheer boredom. It's as simple as that. Sana had got married and she wanted something to do. I was not married. I was already working. And she said, how about we do clothes? And it was such a silly thing, and we both said, yeah, why not? And Sana has always been in love with fashion
Yeah.
since she was a child. So it really was her passion to get into clothes.
Yeah.
And because we were best friends and we said, let's do something together. And it really started out in the back, actually in a room in her own house.
Right.
And one little bedroom and 3 workers, one tailor and 2 haath ke karigars. And I remember going to my dad and asking him for a loan. And he said, how much do you want? And I said, I need 25,000 rupees, which even in those days was not a lot of money,
Yeah.
but it was money at the end
Yeah.
of the day. I didn't have it. And my dad said, of course. And Sana asked her husband for 75,000 rupees.
Okay.
So the 34-year journey started with a lack of rupees.
Yeah.
And we gave ourselves a time stipulation. We said that, listen, we'll try our best and we'll work our hardest for 1 year. And at the end of 1 year, if we've made money, then we'll continue
Yeah.
with the business. And if not, we'll call it a day and we'll say we had a great fun time and whatever.
Bilkul.
Also, in those days, remember, Amna, that nobody worked. No women worked.
Yeah.
I've been working since the age of 19. So I was very empowered from that age.
Right.
And I always earned my own money and I was used to it. And I was used to working a 9 to 5 job. And when we started, we didn't make 1 rupee for the first year.
Really?
And we thought we'll pack it in.
Yeah.
And I promise you, the year ended and we broke into profit. So it shows you a culmination of passion,
Yeah.
grit,
Yeah.
hard work. And like I said, it wasn't about the money. It was really about being passionate about what you did.
Right.
And we believed in ourselves.
Right.
And we realized there was a niche in the market. Both me and Sana were very confident that we could fill that market. It had nothing to do with money, like you just said, nothing to do with a privileged background, because initially we thought our friends would buy from us and that's our clientele and we're done.
Yeah.
And I promise you, it was not our friends. It
Yeah.
was not our class structure. It was not. We just found a new demographic and a new set of girls that loved what we
Absolutely.
did.
Yeah, and what I admire most is that, I mean, there are a lot of pioneers in the fashion industry.
Yes.
But you're more relevant today, if not as much, but more relevant today as you
100%.
were back then.
100%.
So you've sustained it and you've built the
Yeah,
business.
Yeah. So that also, I think, is testimony to the fact that we had a vision.
Yeah.
And we stayed with that vision all through the years. We had many contemporaries.
Right.
All were very talented.
Absolutely.
But you can see for yourself which people have fallen back, which people stayed, and which people moved ahead.
Bilkul.
We always had a vision.
And can I just take a moment to congratulate you on your Tamga Imtiaz
Thank
this year?
you, thank
That is
you.
such a huge...
Yeah,
it's
that was a very
recognition-
humbling experience.
Recognition, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That,
And
you're-
I think I told Sana also, I said, we worked so hard.
Yeah.
And for us to get that little bit of recognition was really like a little stamp
Absolutely.
of approval. And we were very grateful for that.
Absolutely.
We were very grateful for that. And it's a huge honor.
Yeah,
So I'm very humbled.
absolutely. I was delighted on a personal level. I thought, this is great,
It
fantastic.
was a thing on progress, and
Huh.
we were told that we were being, recognized for it, or given your CV,
Yeah.
and so we knew a little bit that we were getting it about a year ago. But when we did get it, it's a really humbling feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think my mom and my dad, who's not with us anymore, would have been so proud.
Bilkul.
Sana's parents would have been bursting with joy.
Bilkul.
It's a big thing. It's a
Bilkul,
big thing.
bilkul.
You know.
So, Safi, coming down to financial literacy,
Yes.
you know, we watch a lot of television here in Pakistan, or this dialogue we've heard a lot, that, you know, a mother-in-law telling her daughter-in-law, or a parent telling her daughter that तुम्हें काम करने की क्या ज़रूरत है, you know, तुम्हारा मियाँ इतना कमाता है, तुम्हें देता है, या बेटा तो पीछे से तुम इतने खाते पीते घर से हो, तुम्हें काम करने की, तुम्हें पैसे की क्या ज़रूरत है. But we feel that women need to have money of their own, and they need to have, if not careers, then some kind of earning, right? Some kind of independence or understanding of finances.
Yes.
How important do you think it is?
So, you know, Amna, it's a double-edged sword. My mother was a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
Sana's mother was a stay-at-home mom. And in all honesty, I don't think that me and Sana would be the people that we were if we didn't have stay-at-home moms. So don't get me wrong, I'm never going to take away from the fact of a mother who stays at home and her first priority is her home and her children.
Yeah.
But having said that, especially nowadays, there is महंगाई. And it is a double income family, whether we like to admit that or not. More and more people now realize that they have to have a double income. And it facilitates and changes your life.
Yeah.
And in the fact that you can send your kids to a better school, you can provide for them the things that they need. An iPad, which in our days was not there, but you can get them an iPad, a better phone, better communication. You can travel a little bit more. You can buy yourself a little bit of things that, you know, you normally
So
couldn't.
better life, a better
100%,
life.
a better life, a more enriched life.
Yeah.
But it comes at the behest of something else. So when people say, oh, women can have it all, no, you cannot. And I really want to tell you that that is a fallacy. And I would be lying to you and telling you that you can get it all. No, something does drop. As women, we are natural multitaskers.
Yeah.
And I feel men are not.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
so, but does that come at a rate of a high functioning person? Yes. And that takes its toll.
Yeah.
So, if you are a woman that wants to work, I am your biggest advocate. But it comes at the price that you're not there for a lot of your kids' issues.
Yeah.
If they're not well, you can't take time off, especially if you're working for somebody.
Yes.
You have to come home. You still have to make sure the house is functioning well.
Yes.
Your husband is never telling the cook what to cook.
No.
You're never telling the husband is never telling the maid how to clean the house and what to do.
Yeah.
So you are multitasking on a very high level, and that comes with a lot of stress. So you're managing the house most of the time, and don't want to generalize here, but most of the time you're also looking after the in-laws.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because your husband is not doing it, and it suddenly
Absolutely.
becomes your duty to look after your mom-in-law, look after your dad-in-law, and the kids and the house, and then you're working, and then of course you got to look good, and then you got to go out at night.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And you can't say no to any of that.
And you can't say no to
You can't say no to
So
any
I
of
think
that.
as you get older and you get more confident, you realize that, hang on, I'm going to prioritize.
Yeah.
And then that is the beauty of age, is that you are strong enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
No, I'm too tired. I'm not going to push myself that far.
But that privilege comes with time and age and wisdom, I think,
Yeah.
when you're
With
getting into
maturity.
it, with maturity, when
With
you're getting into it. But also about the women who are at home and who don't have careers, who are not working outside the house.
Yes.
I think even for them, it is important to be financially independent.
Yeah.
Now, if your husband is giving you a monthly budget or a stipend, I think for women, it's important for them to understand early on in life that keep a little bit aside for yourself, keep it aside for your rainy days.
But everyone does that, right?
Do they
When you
though?
get the
That's my
Khane ka
question.
budget, I know hundreds of people that are always putting a little bit of money on the side. That's a woman's natural instinct to say, hang on, I need a backup plan.
Yeah.
Right?
No, but that is the message they want to give out for women who are not doing that.
Of
That
course,
they must,
of
right?
course.
They must. They must.
I'm
keep
a big
something.
advocate. Like I said, I am a working woman.
Yeah.
I'm a son